It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, Light Forex Social Trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.
Hello, good morning. Welcome back after Easter break. 23rd of April 2019 is a minute past 8 CET time. Piotr here, and this is the pre-London Open live market coverage on Global Light Forex YouTube channel. Let's start with risk warning as usual, guys. Please bear in mind trading effects. Cryptos on margin carries a high level of risk, may not be suitable for investors who can sustain a loss of some or all initial investments. So please do not invest the money that you cannot afford to lose. All right. So hopefully you had a good break. There was a time to recharge the battery, so we can get back into business. A few technical things. Our next meeting is later today. We are going to cover New York Open. Okay, and then we have two central banks, major central banks this week. I'm talking about Bank of Canada, and I'm talking about Bank of Japan, and one of them, Bank of Canada, we are going to cover live tomorrow, and our meeting tomorrow starts a little bit later than usual. We are going to start tomorrow 3:15 CET time, so we are going to prepare ourselves from the Canadian dollar perspective, right? That's quite important. Okay, so if we already touched the calendar, so let's have a look what we have. Nothing extraordinary over the course of the day today. Then next Asian session we are going to get Aussie CPI, and market expectations are lower than what we get last time, 0.2 versus 0.5, at least what I can see here on the calendar. What else tomorrow? ECB economic bulletin, as well as German 10-year bond auction. Our afternoon meeting yesterday related to the Bank of Canada, so of course we've got the Bank of Canada rate decision, rate statement at 4 CET, and 5:15 Bank of Canada press conference. Just the reminder for the next day after tomorrow, another Tokyo session, Wednesday, Thursday, bank holiday in New Zealand and Australia, and Bank of Japan rate decision, right, on Thursday. Then around the European Open, we are going to have Bank of Japan press conference. On Thursday, during the New York session, we are going to get the durable good orders out of the US, and Friday, so we are going to have Jordan, Swiss National Bank chairman, and we are going to get advanced GDP out of the US. So second part of this week, also it's like the end of the month flow. That's what we can expect, but looks like the second part of this week might be a little bit better than what we had before the Easter and what probably we are gonna to get today. And interesting readings, there are dark clouds around the Theresa May. So let me put the stories to the chat window. Just 1 second. And where is the link? There is the link. That's the first from the Times and the second from the Telegraph. Just 1 second. Yeah. Okay, that's better. There you go. So it's a good morning reading. Of course, if you are in Europe, but wherever you are, anyway, it's a good morning, it's a good reading. Maybe not morning, but still good reading. All right, so we done with those two stories. Of course, we are going to discuss British pound cable in a second. All right, from the option market perspective, that's another reason I think we are not gonna see, at least within the first part of the day, we are not gonna to see huge moves. Euro dollar, we are trading around 12.50, and guess what? We do have 2 billion in expiration at 12.50. So what may happen during the London session, we may see a little bit to the upside, a little bit to the downside, but around 10 a.m. New York or 4 p.m. CET, we are gonna to have 12.50, or we are gonna be very close to 12.50. Of course, worth to mention that we've got also billion at 112. So actually around that's the downside, right? We might see the around 50 pips to the downside or 50 pips to the upside, but here at 113 we just have 600 million, so not a big deal. 112.50, 1 billion on dollar yen. That might be interesting, especially based on the price action we see right now. Cable, nothing special. USD CAD, nothing special. Euro pound, 87.05, 654 million in expiration. That's how it looks right now from the option perspective, option market perspective. All right, so time to it's time to check the charts, right? So let's start with dollar index. Why not? let's have a look what we have here. Oh, right. So we had, of course, the volume is a key here, but we had last two sessions we witnessed a little bit of the pullback, right? So where we are right now from dollar index perspective, we are around top of that tiny range we discussed previously, all right, here. But I think that key answer probably we are gonna to get once when we try to check 97.60 again, right? And that's key psychological level also from the euro dollar perspective, because that's 7th of March low and 2nd of April low on euro dollar. We are going to discuss in a second. And then depends on what next, right? But don't forget that we do have this red line, meaning that 99.50, so around the psychological 100 level, we have possible supply based on the monthly chart, right? So that's how I see to the upside. Once bulls are gonna be able to take out 97.60, right? It may expose 99.50, 100 on the dollar index from the bulls perspective. What about the bears? So it's long way, I would say, because either we are talking about this tiny range over here, right? Or we are talking about a little bit wider range, or we are talking about this range. So still from the bears perspective, still eventually if we are fail around current level, we are talking about 96.60, 96.50, we are talking about the 96, and eventually we are talking about the 95 with this possible demand around 94, 94.50, right? So I think there is a little bit of the pressure still to the upside, all right? But of course, I don't want to go too far. So for now, we are talking about this high around 97, 97.60. This stops over here, right? So we are talking, for example, about the high from the 7th of March 2019. That's what we discussed second ago when I mentioned euro dollar. All right. So that's how it looks from the daily perspective. Let's switch to intraday. Let's check what is going on hourly. All right, let's check what is going on hourly. So taking into the consideration that this move to the downside, right, made low, the move from here took out this low right over here, so we can place eventually the intraday trend line as well. Give me a second, please. So more or less looks like this. All right. The only thing I'm worried a bit here, because it looks very good right now. All right. From the bulls perspective, yeah, we can call it that it looks good. Right. We took out the trend line. We're trying to create some kind of the flag over here, if you like. Okay. The only thing I'm worried here, why I'm worried here, is the thing that we have when you want to drew the line, right, you need 2 points. So that's the point number 1, that's the point number 2, and usually when there is a first approach, we should see, theoretically, we should see some kind of the reaction. And there was this kind of the reaction we get here, it was like just consolidation, right? So what different way, what the bulls should have at the back of their head, they should not allow to break back below 97.30, 97.20 over here, right? To avoid 2 things, to avoid some kind of the intraday double top and failure around the trend line. That may expose, may open again eventually down to the range again, and in that case we are talking about the 96.80. Okay, so we know where we are here from that perspective. Of course, to the upside, those 2 highs. We are trying to draw this short-term line, right? That's the probably some kind of the liquidity pool. So stops above, and that may move and hit the stops around 97.50, and above may open 97.70 again. So the high from the 7th of March. So that's how it looks on the dollar index, and very similar stuff, of course, opposite 180 degrees on euro dollar. So let's switch to the platform again. Okay, so euro dollar, we know option expiration 12.50, a little bit lower around 12.42. we do have weekly open. What is going on within last few days? So what we discussed last week, there was a possible demand which we took out. All right, so now the green zone over here, so the range from 11th of April as possible supply. All right, first possible supply, but there is a plenty of, because of this narrow range, plenty of visible possible supply over here. The next possible supply is related to the price action from the 17th of April. All right, over here. We were trying to take out this line again, right, from the weekly perspective. Let me hide it. All right. So we were trying to take out the trend line we put here on the weekly twice. It's a second time, right? First time it was like 4 weeks ago, and we ended up with Riley. Again, last week, attempt to break lower, and we are trying, or different words, bulls are trying to fight around this trend line, but I think from the bear's perspective, that might be some kind of the flag creation, right? And this move may expose So this type of the flag over here, and the break to the downside will expose the low from the 2nd of April, and this low from the 7th of March. Just the reminder, that's not last one but the previous one, ECB meeting. So still we are within that range, right? Looking to the downside most probably, at least for now. Again, from a higher time frame perspective here, from the daily perspective, bulls need to take out the high from this 7th of March, right? So that's what we see here, and close above the low from the 21st of March, 1342. So yeah, trying to make the conclusion here from the daily perspective, from the medium term perspective, bulls need to take out 1350, 114 and close above on a daily chart. That would, yeah, I would even I may say that may cancel the bearish scenario. So for now, yeah, looks like any kind of the rally being used as a selling opportunity, at least for now, right here. So let's switch to the lower time frame, because that's what actually it's interesting from my perspective as a day trader. So let's have a look what we have here. During the Tokyo session, we retest possible demand we've seen yesterday, right? So once we took out yesterday, once we get back above the weekly open, that's possible demand. During Tokyo session, we hit within 1 hour, we hit that zone, bounce, retest right ahead of the London Open. Very curious what's going to happen here after the London Open, and why I'm so curious, why I'm watching this with huge interest, because from the intraday perspective, right, we took out this latest supply on hourly, right? Okay, plus the demand we discussed a second ago. So that's the range where I would expect some bullish activity. All right, that's the range where we can expect some bullish activity. All right. What is going on from the bear side? From the bear side, we probably have this one-to-one correction after this big breakdown below 113 last week. All right, so as you can see, one-to-one pullback, nice pullback into the intraday demand, and we'll see what's going to happen over here. 1250, just a friendly reminder as a key today, at least towards option expiration. Okay, so let's switch lower if we can. What we can see here, okay, that was the latest move to the downside over here, breakdown, and that was the yesterday retest. So nothing to counter what we discussed based on the hourly. So yeah, we are around possible demand, so move a little bit higher still possible. Where a little bit higher, but where? Piotr, tell us where. All right, I think that this breakdown point towards 75 and 13 psychological level, that might be the answer, right? So around current level, I'm going to watch carefully. London open. It might be just stop count below the Tokyo low, and if I'm gonna to see rejection around the weekly open, yeah, I might try to long side, right? But that depends on what I'm going to see, what kind of the price action I'm going to see around the weekly open, if any, right? And to the upside, yesterday high as a key. If we are gonna be able to take out then the yellow zone over here, so the previous demand or bottom of that big range, all right, as a possible supply, all right. So it might be, we are discussing 1-to-1 here, the small one, but it might end up that this 1-to-1 we can treat it as a one big move, and then a little bit of the pullback towards the weekly open, right? And another big move with, for example, 2 waves to the upside towards 75.13. 1275 113. All right, so that's how I see the euro dollar, as we are still we are ranging right now. Of course, bears are in a little bit better situation here, so yeah, trying to sell the rally is the name of the game, but because of anyway, because it's a range, I will try to watch carefully. Also, long side, as we discussed, I wanna see the what kind of the price action we are going to get around the weekly open. So maybe there gonna be chance for aggressive long entry, right? But yeah, we'll see. If anything happened here, I'm going to tell you about once we are going to meet later today. Once we are going to have a meeting related to New York session. All right, British pound. As I mentioned, dark clouds around Theresa May. It might be negative, right? Because when there is a mess, there is always negative for the currency. And still, from the higher perspective, we are still, from the bear's perspective, under this fall scenario. Once we are going to be able to close the day below 29.70, right? So it might expose the range from the 14th of February. So bear's job is to try to push lower and close below 29.70. Okay. On the other hand, bull's job is first to hold the zone 29.70, 130 and try to push a little bit higher. If we are gonna be able to take out yesterday high and close above weekly open, that would be the first positive sign. Let's have a look what we have on intraday perspective. Very tight range, almost like not the cable right over here. The yellow one is, yeah, we don't need it anymore. There is a supply which holds the possible breakdown to the breakdown intact, right? So from intraday perspective, bulls need to take out and close above 30.20, 30.25 based on my chart over here. The thing we discussed, 29.70, if we are gonna to break through 29.70, it may expose from the intraday perspective immediately 29.35, 29.25, and depends on if we are going to see, and the second, what time of the day we are going to eventually see that move. If we are gonna to break down the later during the day we are going to get this breakdown, the more serious is going to be. That's what I'm trying to tell you, right? The move above, eventually move above 30.25, so move above this possible intraday supply. It might be that we are going to overall get back inside this range, right? So we may retest the supply around 31, and then 31.30, the top of the range might be in play as well, right? So that's how I see British pound. Dollar yen, nice price action during the Tokyo session, all right, ahead of the Bank of Japan meeting. We do have this possible megaphone formation, and we do have possible demand based on the upside break, right? I'm talking about possible demand over here, and that was discussed last week, right? So what happened, it was the hit to the downside. We hit that demand based on this yellow box over here, right? And we're trying to get back higher. What is positive here? Positive is that bulls managed to get back above the weekly open. But from the intraday perspective, the big black candle, right? This move to the downside during 1 hour, that's the range, right? So I wouldn't be surprised to see a retest of the bottom of that range and try again higher, right? Once bulls manage to get back above 112, the move during the Tokyo session to the downside might be treated as a failure, right? We made 30 pips, so in that case we see the breakout of that range to the upside. It might be treated as a failure, and at least 30 pips to the upside possible. So meaning that 12.15 and the stops above are going to be under pressure here on the dollar yen. Let's have a look even smaller time frame, and as you can see over here, we have very nice, right? We have very nice possible supply market is working with right now. That's the Tokyo supply. Okay, on the 15-minute chart, so it's worth to watch what is going on. It might be that we are going to see the first reaction. We might, for example, retest weekly open, and there might be another attempt to try to go higher, right? Especially that, for example, if we are going to take this move, this run higher, and so 1-to-1, ideally, as you can see, 1-to-1 of that move, right, may bring weekly open into play, and here some aggressive bulls may try to push higher through this Tokyo supply again. Okay, of course, during the afternoon meeting, when we are going to cover the New York session, we are going to have more time. So for example, we are going to prepare ourselves for the Australian CPI, for example, right? No worries about that. What we covered till now, three majors: euro dollar, dollar yen, and cable. And finally, as we are coming to the end of this pre-London Open meeting, time to check what is going on the crypto side, and especially what King is doing. Let's have a look what we have there. And King is moving, and once King is moving, the rest is watching and watching carefully. All right, what we discussed for during the last few meetings was the 5,350, 5,500 zone, where the stops resides in our opinion. So it's better visible from the intraday perspective, right? So first we were fighting with 5,200, break to the upside. There was another possible intraday supply, right? Where bears were trying to hold over the period of the holiday break, right? And finally, Tokyo session breakout through 5,500, right? So what is going on? Probably bulls are ready. Bulls are ready to test this huge breakdown zone, and 5,800, 6,000 as a first wall of possible supply here. The smartest move from the bull side, as there are gonna be plenty of sellers, the smartest move trying to change the direction, medium term, long term, that would be move to the upside, test of this supply, just tiny pullback to invite more sellers, and a strong move to the upside without looking back. What I mean by that, without looking back, meaning that all those shorts who are comfortable right now, sitting below 6,000, right? They would be forced either by margin call, either by the price action, they would be forced to close, right? In that case, if that's going to happen one day, right, we are going to make the simplest possible approach. If that was around $3,000 move to the downside, we may expect 3,000 to the upside. In that case, we are talking about 9,500, 10,000. And with this optimistic scenario, I'm gonna to leave you for a London session, right? But of course, first, we have to take out this 5,800, 6,000. But guys, plenty of supply, possible supply there, so be very careful. All right, that was the optimistic accent toward the end of our meeting. That was the pre-London Open on the Global Light Forex YouTube channel. My name is Piotr, it was my pleasure. Don't be trapped during the London session, and don't forget, you are more than welcome to join me for live market coverage, and we are going to cover New York session later today at 2 p.m. CET. That's it from me right now. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Take care. Goodbye.
It would be great to have someone who could do our work for us, right? Someone to prevent us from making mistakes. Someone to assist with our routine professionally and allow us to devote our time to communicating with our closest people. If only we could get results without wasting our time for nothing. Unfortunately, it's impossible in real life. But wait, light Forex social trading. Spend your time doing what really matters to you.